Well, I'm going to go ahead and start the meetings. I think we're about 4 minutes past due. And as you can see, we got a little bit of a different setup today. So welcome those of you that usually come and know how we do. And the church has given us some different kinds of equipment that I think will make some things a lot better. But I know it looks really different. And the lights are dim so that you can see the screen better because of the contrast of too much light. The screen, the projector is not quite up to the task that we normally have it from the rear. So this is why we are in a soothing, dim lit, almost movie theater environment. So enjoy it, sit back, wait for the show, that's what they would say. Okay, so welcome everybody, and I'm just calling it to order so that we can get started. And it looks like one of the first orders of business is that somebody left a beautiful little medallion sometime in the past. It looks like a wings of an angel here. It looks brass. Did anyone lose this or know someone who might have? We have it here. And we do return items that are left in the room, and often I've been able to look at photographs to find out who it was. I think I returned somebody's sweater that works here at the church a couple, 3 years ago, and I knew they would need it. And I said, gee, I wonder which table I picked this up over here, and I could see them then on a photograph. So pass it around and we'll see if anyone comes to claim. All right, Joyce, would you like to introduce a new board member? He's been a board member for the last couple of months, and he's back there helping you check in. And I want Joyce to say some words about him. We're just really happy to have him. Come on up, Joyce. Introduce David Donaldson.
We've already put him to work. Part of work and rest. David is our newest board member. And he's already been, he came in and signed in. He's manning the sign-in desk. So this is David Donaldson. He comes to us. Hey, David. Were you born in Chicago? Were you born in Chicago?
No, I was born in Michigan.
Michigan, but you live in Chicago.
Yeah.
On and off.
They're in here.
There and here. And here, David is at Peppertree Condominium. And before he retired, he worked for in management for a variety of computer firms. And I think was IBM the last one? For you?
No, that was the first one.
Oh, that was the first one. Oh, that's a good way to start out.
So David, if you could come up to the podium, we can see you in Zoom, please.
Oh, yeah, good. We can let all our Zoom audience see you.
I don't know if that's beneficial.
Yes, it is.
Come a little bit closer to this and we'll get you better on the speaker.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, better.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So David, I know, has been very interested in the incorporation issue and the hotel issue. So,
can't hear you, Joyce.
oh,
She said that I've been very interested in the incorporation issue with the Save Siesta Key group, and I'm kind of involved with those guys. And also with, what else did you say?
the hotel issue.
Yeah, I'm interested in the hotel issue, but mainly I'm most interested in the traffic.
Well, you come to the right place.
And
Right time.
I kept yelling that we need to charge at the beach, but everybody beat me up so much that I guess I have to give up on the fact that the county is ever going to charge money at the beach. So my newest thought, which is embryonic, is we need a third bridge. We'll see where that goes.
There's our next project.
Joyce will take care of it.
Thank you, David.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Now I guess we'll hear from
Sergeant Daniel Smith, who is our officer on the key, the lead officer at the Siesta Key substation. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. How's it going? I can't believe that January is already over. This year, I guess, is going to fly by. But so I have January's report. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So January's report covers January 1st to the 31st, and there were 232 calls for service on CSTP. 18 incidents, or 6% of the total, were persons or property crimes, classified under the FBI or what's called NIRS. Out of those 18 incidents, there were 4 simple assault cases, 3 auto theft, 2 residential burglary, 2 vehicle burglaries, 2 grand larcenies from a building, 1 officer assaulted, 1 petty theft, 1 petty theft from a building, 1 petty theft shoplifting, and then 1 robbery. So I'll go into a couple of details on each of those. I don't know if something's listed about the officer assaulted. I don't know if that's listed on here. I don't think it is. But I can find out about it and let you guys know at the next meeting. 3 auto thefts were reported during the time frame. 1 incident involved an unsecured electric bicycle that was stolen from the beach. So the electric bicycles are classified as a vehicle when it comes to a theft. 2 vehicles that had the keys left inside were stolen and recovered in St. Petersburg. So I believe I spoke of that last month. And just reminded everybody then to make sure they're locking their vehicles, and especially not leaving the keys in them, because that is a cyclical crime trend that happens periodically. So during that same time period, there were 2 unlocked vehicle burglaries that occurred at the same time that were likely related to that same that same group. The reported robbery included a battery amongst adults at the beach. A cell phone was later discovered missing, which would classify that as a burglary if there was force used in the taking of an item. So that's what the robbery was. It was originally a battery, but then something was a person's cell phone was missing. In the residential burglary, an unsecured residence under construction was entered and the tools were stolen. In the second burglary, an unoccupied house appears to have been lived in by unknown subjects. Of the 5 assault cases, arrests were made in 3. In the remaining 2 incidents, the suspects were not known to the victim. Total of 5 theft incidences were reported. Items stolen included a hoverboard taken by a known suspect, a wallet, cell phone, and food. In the last case, a purse was stolen from a bar. The investigation led to the identification of a suspect in that case. And those are all of the 18 incidents, or 6% persons or property crimes. And with those, if you look at previous months and over the last year that I've been out here, that percentage usually hovers right around 6. So it's good to see that it's not increasing or going up a lot or anything like that. So it's nice to keep the person's property crimes low. If anybody, yes.
Where was the unoccupied house that was occupied by?
I don't have that information, and that this is an unclassified document, so the locations of that may be classified or an ongoing investigation like that.
But all of it is on CSTP.
Yes, all of these incidents that I speak of are on CSTP. So the 18 incidents that are persons or property crimes were here, and all 332 calls that are listed in this were also on CSTP. So if you look at the second page that's on there, this second page, it details all calls on CSTP that are all of the 323 calls. A lot of them are officer initiated calls where illegal parking, if we go on a screen for that, or a suspicious person, if we go out on make a screen on our computers and say that we're out with somebody or we're out with illegal parking, that goes into one of those numbers. But you can see the breakdown here of every single call and every single case that took place. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
I had a question that you said the electric bicycle was considered a vehicle.
Yeah.
Why are they allowed on the beach?
The electric bicycles are allowed on the beach under pedal pop. So the people have to be pedaling. So they have to be All electric bicycles can go anywhere an actual bicycle is allowed to go under Florida state statute. But when they're on the beach, they have to be under pedal power, they have to be pedaling. Now,
These large groups that are going 21 miles an hour and running, people who are, walking at sunset time, there's a group that comes.
we monitored that group that comes with a lot of people and, in our observations, they're not, when we observe them, they're not going that fast. If it's apparent that someone is pedaling, but still going 20 miles, we're going to make contact and educate them on the rules. Yes, sir.
Does the peddling rule only apply to the public beach as opposed to the?
No, it's the entire beach. Yes.
Where was the crash, the vehicle crash that you described, the traffic crash, do you know? There was two of them.
I do not know.
It says highway obstruction. Would that have been something related to the improvements on the road?
Not sure. I can make a note of it and try to.
Yeah, that would be good to know. Would be good to know. We've had a lot of questions about the DOT work on the roads and future work that's coming and.
There was one crash yesterday with a bicyclist. It was down south here. And it was a trash can was in the bicycle lane. So the bicyclist had to kind of maneuver around the trash can. When he did that, his handlebar or mirror or something on his bike hit the trash can and pushed him into the road, which then a vehicle struck him and he fell off his bicycle with a head injury. I don't know how he's doing here today, but it was a serious incident. It was a serious injury. So, that's if you put your trash cans out of the bike lane and the trash guy comes through, they're going to be in wherever they kind of throw them. Yes.
I also had a question. I ride a bicycle every day.
Yes.
Out here. And twice in the past 10 days, there are golf carts that are license plated.
Yes.
They are driving in the bike lane and on the sidewalk
They
on
shouldn't be.
midnight pass.
They shouldn't be. So if they're registered and they're within the 35 mile an hour or lower, they should be riding on the roadway.
Because, I know they're supposed to be on the roadway. If I take that license number, can I call it in?
You can absolutely call it in, but if we get there and they're not committing a traffic violation at that time,
Well,
we
yeah,
can't cite them. But yeah, absolutely.
But I need someone for me to see it twice, and it wasn't because they were trying to get out of the way.
I think some people are confused on the rules and of what they're supposed to do, because a lot of those are rentals. And we periodically will go to the rental companies and just remind them of the rules, the laws, where people are allowed to be, where they're not allowed to be. So we make efforts to make contact with the rental
There's
companies.
something that could be printed out that when they rent these.
There is, and they
And
sign for it. But
I'm just afraid, they were going at a pretty good speed
Mhm.
and I was in their way on my bicycle.
Yeah,
There were people
always
walking
feel
on the
free
sidewalk
to call us
and
and,
they're just, somebody's gonna get really hurt by having them. It's on midnight pass.
yeah, they should be not in the bike lane.
I yelled at them and the guy, I said, you have a plate, you need to be in there. He was going down there because traffic was backed up and some bumper to bumper stopped.
Oh, okay,
He's gonna
yeah.
Go around.
Shouldn't be doing that. That's
Right.
So you
But
can
it's-
always give us a call, and we'll try to respond, and we have the four-wheeler, so we're able to respond, quicker than a vehicle sometimes, so feel free to always call us if you see something, definitely report it, okay?
Okay, well, the other thing that I saw was the no turn on red sign at Stickmeter.
Yes,
Midnight pass,
I think it says no turn on red when pedestrians are present.
right, when they push the button, but the sign, I come through there frequently, the sign on the right-hand side is back further, but the one that's straight ahead is not functioning.
The one that's on the light pole,
Right, on that little island.
okay, yeah,
Because
I can look at that and let
I've
the
noticed
county know.
twice in the past week,
That's
That's-
coming onto the island?
Coming
from
onto the
Stickney?
island.
Okay,
the one, I'm like, Okay. I just.
It's supposed to be, the law is supposed to be when pedestrians are present.
I believe that's what the sign says.
So you don't turn when they're not.
It says, it lights up when they push the button and it says no turn on red.
That's
So
right.
it's-
I think when you're coming off the island north, Midnight Pass and making a right-hand turn on the Stickney Point, that's where the sign says, there's no turn on red when pedestrians are present, I believe, but I have to go down and look at it.
Right, there is another sign that says that, but then when you're coming onto the island, there are two that when the button is pushed, they light up. And there's words in for work.
I'm saying when you're coming on, I believe those are just no turn on red.
Right.
And then there's a white bar that's painted
But
on the
people
road
don't
that you need to
just
stop
look
at
at
or
it.
stop behind.
It'd be nice if we put a camera.
I have 2 questions back here, I'll take.
Coming on the island and turning on the Midnight Pass, there are 2 signs that do not turn that normally light up.
Yeah.
One is lighting up, the other one does not.
Okay, we can
Function.
let the county know that that's out.
Thank you.
I have a quick question too. This is actually, I don't know if it's still operational, but over the years, there was a phone number that was put out for people to call to report. It wasn't just speeders, but recklessness. That was a tag number. You could report it and call the number. And even if no one came to do it, they could contact the owner of that vehicle.
Mhm.
And the reason this came about was because of teenage driving and the parents not being aware
Okay.
of what the kids were doing.
I'm unfamiliar with
It-
that.
it-
I've never
it's,
heard of that.
Yeah, it's been out a long time and I won't tell you about my incident.
I don't know if that's a state
Yeah,
initiative or.
well, it's the county and I can
Okay.
give you this number and maybe.
Sure, I'll
ask you about it.
Yeah.
It's 941-365-8247. And it helped because the owner of the vehicle, which is usually the parents or some other, or the person who's rented the vehicle, would get information then
Was it,
about it.
what was it? Do you have it listed under?
I put under
Speeders?
speeders in general,
Okay.
but it's anything that seems really,
That number.
yes, it's 941-365-8247. There was another name for it.
I'll
related to-
Google the number and see what it comes up as
Yeah.
and then look into that.
Because I've called the rental groups. I can tell which vehicles are theirs. There are certain ones, and I can call them and say, I've just observed one of your people that are using it, and they're in an area that's a 40-mile-an-hour zone, and they're actually driving here, and they're not supposed to be, and I need to be aware of it.
Oh, yeah. for the
Yeah, so
helpers, yeah,
that
yeah.
I've done that, but you have to be able to really know who to call.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, sir, Rick.
Mine with Mr. Donaldson's concerns. When the courtesy bus stops to pick people up.
Yes.
Is there some reason that bus doesn't get over to the edge of the sidewalk because bicyclists can't ride through there in the bike lane anyway?
Is there some reason why it does or doesn't? I think for safety to not block the bike lane or the sidewalk.
But can the bicyclists go through there if that bus is loading or unloading?
Yes.
They can. Like they. In Ireland, that's the way we say.
Yes.
A couple of times this past week, as we're going from Midnight Pass up to the stoplight where Heigl is.
Yes,
We've seen people making an illegal left turn.
left turn, come back.
Anybody who's new has no idea how else to get to the village. So that's what they're doing. And it really it's very, very dangerous and messes up traffic. Just before that, there's that little sign that says to Heigl Avenue, which is really a dumb kind of a sign. It should say.
Oh, Banana Grove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should say to Heigl Avenue South and Siesta Village, because that way they can get through to the village. But they don't know that. And so they go in and they stop at the stoplight, and then of course the light turns green and they're trying to go the other way.
Right. I can get with the county as well on that and see if they want to try
There's
to
a sign on that.
change the wording of the sign and make it a little bit clearer. A lot of that stuff does go through the county and I'm
But if you
sure.
could report that, because it's
Sure,
really
yeah.
very dangerous. And I've seen it twice within the past week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like,
Real quick on the bicycles, the electric bicycles.
yeah,
The county has, at their, the beach that the county owns, it says, walk your
well,
bikes.
yes,
So the mean high water line, if it helps in any way, is like for fishing or swimming, it's for cameras. It's not for riding bikes.
So they should be walking through where the county park is, where those signs are, everybody should be walking their bikes through there.
Okay, then when they go down to like the property that I have,
Right,
they blast through there.
yeah, those sign is the walking.
So if I put up a walking sign, can we give them tickets if they don't?
I think that's a county park regulation under the county ordinances.
So because my property is not a county park.
I believe so. I'd have to reread it, but we actually looked into that sign the other day because I wanted to confirm if it was actually an enforceable sign on the county park or not. But there is in the county ordinances for the county park, it does say prohibited by any sign. So I think that just will apply to the county park area.
I wish there's a way we could get like park rules that would.
Yeah. And I mean, I have union guys out here almost every night, so I can make sure they're still continuing to monitor that group, make sure that they're following the rules, educating people if they're not, and re-educating the owner or the leader of the group that goes with them and making sure that they're keeping their group in order.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, problematic.
Yeah,
They're not, it's gotta be powered.
I'm sorry.
They're not peddling the.
When I've observed them, they have been, and we've done it a lot. I know there's a lot of complaints, but we have observed them many times. And even from hidden locations. And they've been pedaling when we have seen them. I know a lot of times there's other people that are on electric bicycles, not part of that group, that are not pedaling and they're using their electric bike, and we'll stop them, educate them. Usually they don't know. But as for that group, every time we have observed them, they have been following the rules.
The bicycle down in, you were referring to the accident.
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, I passed that.
Okay.
The detail on that, you say that was involved with a trash can, but was a vehicle involved? With
Yes, so when he tried to maneuver around the trash can, into the roadway slightly, and I think his handlebar hit the trash can, which pushed him out of the road further, and then a work truck, he either ran into a work truck or a work truck hit him. I'm not sure exactly what hit what, but there was a vehicle pushed him off the roadway, and a work truck of some sort was involved.
You have no idea what the serious.
I don't know. It was a serious head injury. It was a trauma alert. So
it looked bad. We
had
four emergency vehicles down on it. I was
so I haven't heard anything today on a condition or status or anything like that. FHP, Florida Highway Patrol investigates the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions or comments? It's been a lively time, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're spring break is coming soon, so I don't want to say that too early, but we're planning for spring break, and we're getting all the details aligned, and we're going to have a lot of coverage out here this year, like we did last year. So hoping for a good spring break for it to come and go.
I know, is there gonna be more coverage on the four-way stop in the village? Because I know in years
The
past.
new full-way stop?
No, the original.
Okay.
There have been so many violations. I mean, there are a lot of people there.
Sure.
And during spring break, it's just insane that people, they're here, college kids are on break. It would be better, I would like to see more of a presence there, because I can't believe, I've seen kids burn rubber on a turn there and accelerate past the beach club.
Okay, I can let our traffic unit know and my guys know, just to keep that in mind when we're going through there and in that area.
Yeah, I mean, they'll stop at stop signs, but then it's.
Gas it a little too
It's
hard.
very scary.
Yeah.
For people with their kids and stuff walking, trying to get through there.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely monitor that.
Thank you.
Would it be unusual for some kind of a flashing stoplight, just one of those things that make you stop at the four-way stop? Because
I don't think so. I mean, I know that there's there's signs throughout the county that I don't know where, but I remember seeing signs throughout the county that have the around the stop sign and a flashing light. And I know the new four-way stop, a lot of people don't remember that that's there, so
Right.
that might be something for the county to look into with their road engineers, if it would be beneficial or not.
And I don't know, his question would be whether or not that's something, a citizen along with the sheriff would have to approach the traffic advisory.
Maybe, I mean, the traffic advisory is a good tool to use if there's any sort of traffic related complaints or improvements.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can you use the dash cam on these golf carts that run up and down Midnight Pass at 40 miles an hour zone and out there doing 15?
What dash cam?
Anyone that has one. You say you can't enforce anything unless you see it, but if you have it on a dash cam,
No, that would be a violation, just like any other traffic violation or citation. It would be witnessed by the law enforcement officer. Okay.
I had, one of our members brought up an issue, and I don't know if you had any experience with it, but she said that the crosswalk in the village from, it was like, near Davidson's Plaza.
Okay, yeah,
Not the four-way stop.
right, south of there.
Yeah, and she said she's seen several instances where there've been near accidents. And
Mhm.
yes, at one point, I thought we had some lights there.
There's probably, I think, I would have to check to confirm, but a lot of the crosswalks have the buttons that you push and the lights will flash.
But this one doesn't.
I know, and there's some that are down south that don't have them there, south of Stickney Bridge, so I think. And hopefully that the county continues to update those and add the buttons and add the flashing lights and.
So would the best action be to go to the traffic advisory committee with a request?
I'm not sure if they handle that, but if they don't, then we're clear in the right direction, I'm sure, yeah,
I have one more.
yes.
And I'm probably getting ahead of the conversation, but we all know that the trucks are gonna start rolling with sand.
Sand, yeah.
and mud. Is the department gearing up for more coverage and more help with these along the way, the turning spots and all that for these trucks coming in and out of Turtle Beach?
Not necessarily, they may, if the county feels that there is a need for traffic control, at Turtle Beach coming in or out, a off-duty detail deputy can be hired by the county, to monitor that and control that.
How about the contractor's responsibility? And
I don't know, I'm sure they have insurance and liability that their company holds. Like any other company, but if we're in the area and we see an issue, we can address it, but we can't promise to be down there monitoring it. That's what's good about a detail deputy that would be hired by the county, because that detail deputy sits at that location for whatever X amount of hours that the county hires the detail to be there for, and they will monitor. They can stop traffic, let the trucks out, stop the trucks, let traffic flow if it is an issue and becomes an issue. So that is a way to handle that for the county.
Right, and
All right,
might be talking with you after the fact about some of these things.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, so thank
You have
you.
my number, so.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
And do we have our code enforcement officer in the background? All right. Okay, Officer Rick Russ, who is a super code enforcement officer, is going to talk with us now about some of the work he's been doing with the illegal rentals and a few other things. So I'm going to leave it to him and just raise your hands and he's going to answer your questions. He knows everything.
Okay, great. Welcome. Thank you. Just letting you guys know that I'm on these short-term rentals because that is our biggest complaint on the island as far as code enforcement. Sure, we have other ones, and on the island, you know, I'm the only officer, of course, but we handle everything, and we even refer out to other divisions where they need help at that, you know, some people that have a complaint, kind of combined code enforcement, and they're not just one code enforcement, because there's environmental code enforcement, and you got building code enforcement, you got our code enforcement, and so there's different little divisions. One day I'll do a little thing on that. But today we're going to go over this flyer because there's a lot of confusion. There's always been a lot of confusion about the code for transient rentals or short-term rentals, or better known to the Siesta Key Association as hotel houses. Okay. But what we want to do is go over the number one. I thank you ladies for putting this on so we can see it in English, which define terminology. Let's go over these things that won't take us long at all. And we've got some questions. I can answer some questions. And first is a flyer. We can send it out to you, email it to you if you need it. My email is rruss@scgov.net. And this is the RSF and RMF Citizens Guide to the rental. It's the flyer for the short-term rentals. And let's start with the defined terminology, okay? Transit accommodations. That is a dwelling unit that is rented for less than monthly time share periods, such as hotels, motels, bed and breakfast, and other accommodations with a similar use. Transient accommodation does not include dwelling units zoned in RMF located on the barrier islands, which are rented for less than 30 days. In other words, if it's a residential multifamily zoning, then they can rent less than 30 days. And we don't get involved in any of those complaints. They may be in a condo, they may be in a area where they have a homeowners association and they don't allow it. But whatever that is, that's civil and we don't get involved. So in other words, I'm trying to put this together for you because this is still confusing, and you can understand why even people that work at the county, they get confused. But to be defined, transient accommodations are not allowed in a single family residential zone. Only in a residential for multifamily zoning is it allowed. Okay, so now that's good. And then next wordings we're going to use is short-term rental. Okay, now definition of the short-term rental by Sarasota County standards is rental of a residential unit in a RMF district on the barrier islands for a period of less than 30 days. Okay, now that's two types. One's a transient accommodation in the multifamily, of course, and you can have a hotel, motel, bed and breakfast. Now, the short-term rental is still illegal in a single family resident zoning, and it's a short-term rental. It's not an transient accommodation. They're two different things. Now, it's rental of a residential unit in an RMF district on the barrier islands for a period of less than 30 days, and that's not allowed in the single family residential across the counties, not just Siesta Key. Okay. So we covered those two terminologies, and let me see what else she has down underneath that. I got to move this down a little bit. Oh, okay. I'll go on off of the flyer. Now, let's see the zoning districts. What can I do if I live, or if I own or live property on the residential single family, RSF? Okay, you can find the zoning of the type of property if you're looking at a house down the street saying, hey, I think they got some short-term renters and there's kind of a lot of turnover. That's not really actual proof because there's different cars. Okay, anybody can have different cars. Your uncle can have a different car than your aunt, and they're staying with you. So now you think you're going to be a short-term rental. But just to be technically correct on everything, all the leases must be at least 30 days, period. There's no rent for 2 weekends or 1 weekend, and then you're gonna go 2 weeks from now, you're gonna rent it out again for a month. No, you can't do that. You have to have a 30-day rental minimum, and that's what it is. So here it is again under A, under the questions for zoning districts for the residential single family. I'll repeat it. All leases must be at least 30 days. Short-term rental use is not allowed. Transient accommodation is not allowed. Other districts allow for the rental of dwelling units where the lease must be at least 30 days, including open use in agriculture, open use in rural. That's the agriculture is OUA. The open use for rural is OUR. And these zoning abbreviations are on the property appraiser's site. When you look up an address, it'll give you the zoning to the right. When you're scrolling down, it'll give it to you, and it'll state just what type of zoning it is, and it'll give you the abbreviation. The next one is open use estate, which is a OUE, residential estate, RE. Residential combination is RC. Residential manufactured home is RMH. Now, if you got any questions, our zoning department, you can reach them by 941-861-5000. You just want to ask some questions, they're open to talk to you. And you just ask for the zoning department because we enforce the code for them, and they have the specifics if you need to talk to someone because you got some questions about whatever it is, because it's zoning, okay? Now, the second question is, what can I do if I live or own property in residential multifamily? That's the RMF, okay? Where they allow transit accommodations, they allow the short-term rentals. We talked about that under the defined terminology of both of those terms, okay? Now, A, number one, on the barrier islands, leases are not required to be at least 30 days. I'll repeat. On the barrier islands in a residential multifamily zone, RMF, you'll find it on the property appraiser, as I said earlier. Now, short-term rental use is allowed. That means the leases are not required to be at least 30 days. And leases may be less than 30 days. And barrier islands include Siesta Key, Casey Key, and Minnesota Key. Okay. Now, in other RMF districts, that's A2. This is on the flyer. Okay. And if you need to, my email is rruss@scgov.net. I'll send you one, or I'll have them in the back of the rooms at the meeting because I get asked for that quite often, okay? All leases must be at least 30 days in other RMF districts. The short-term rental use is not allowed. Transit accommodation is not allowed. Now, any questions? You want to call zoning, and their number is 941-861-5000. State what your concerns are, and you don't have to open a complaint. You're just inquiring to see what's going on, okay? Or how you can help, because we need specific information once you call a complaint in. I don't want to take up all Catherine's information till she wants to get to you guys today, but in an upcoming meeting, I'm going to do again, the SB 60, which is Senate Bill 60, introduced and approved, and it really helps us weed everything out, because we can go right for the meat of the complaint, which is directly to the property, and you do have to leave a name and address, but I'll go over all those details when you're calling in a complaint. But if you got any questions now, I can answer a few. And I will also leave my phone number just in case. My phone number is 941-264-4988. And of course, if you got something to report, you have to call that in to 941-861-5000. 5,000 and be ready and to give them the complete information of everything. And if you have a link, be able to, you can send that to my email with the explanation, but you do need to call the other number in and leave your email with them. They'll give it to me in a complaint, and they'll give you a number to follow up with. And until I complete an investigation to create the case and find out if there's going to be a notice of violation issued or not, then you will be followed up in the loop with your email. And that's the best way to do it. If not, just wait for a call back, because I'll call you if you just leave a phone number and your address. Okay. Thank you very much. Catherine?
I'm here. We have a few questions, and Jean has one for you.
Okay.
Officer Russ, if we have an annual rental, do we have any issue with either one of these? And is it an annual rental outside of this?
Well, here's what I would do. Okay. I do see in the code that if you're renting an annual rental, then the owner has to be part of the rental process, or somebody on the company. That's a technical question. So if someone's interested in that, and Ms. Jean, I will get that to you in print so you can see it. I read it today. We want to make sure it's totally clear. So instead of me broadcasting it, what I know is there's a technicality as far as the owner, which could be a part of an LLC, part of the corporation, whatever it is. If it's someone that's on the board there, with the Sun Biz, then they can occupy the property with the tenants. But I think after 30 days, I read that you do have to show up at that property. So I'll give you those details. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for Officer Russ right now? It's a very interesting issue, and one that he's been working on to help us have more consistency with where things are allowed. And I think that when I've had actually very recently, and I will say this because we talked about this on the phone this week, that many realtors have been calling us and contacting us because they are now selling a lot, and people are saying, gee, how can I rent? Can I rent if I buy this here in this area? And I've been able to respond to some things because it's very clear, but the realtors are getting very interested in doing what's correct.
Okay, good. I did take note. Yes. See, I do pay attention to you when you're talking to me, Miss Catherine, on the phone. And I wasn't driving, I was writing things down. So I want to go over that with you. And then I would like to talk to Natalie, because the realtors do need to be kept abreast. And, some of them, all of them aren't, all of them know, some of them know, and they do it anyway, but that's okay, because we're going to put it out there so we can let them know there's no excuse for you not to know, because Officer Russ and the whole SKA we're looking out for everybody. So we just want to make sure that they follow the code. Okay.
Yes, I've been very happy that we've been getting these calls because they want to know where to find the code, how to locate it. The best that we've been able to do is to give them the actual code language that's written in the document and send it to them so they can do other research as well. And I also would be happy to give them your number if they ask further questions, Officer Russ.
And my email. So, maybe they have something to add and questions. I'm offering everything. So when you don't think I'm working, I'm working. It might be raining, but until it starts snowing, and then I'll go back north.
That's great. Are we good now? Okay.
Yes.
We know you're a busy guy, and I really appreciate all that you're doing. And I know, by the way, many people don't always know that our code enforcement officers also provide legal testimony in the magistrate court system. So they are not only just people you call when you think there's something wrong, but they do all the investigation, they write the reports, and they provide legal testimony. So it's a pretty big job to get some of these things handled in some of the areas. So we really appreciate you, Officer Russ.
Yes, and then another thing I want to mention that my supervisor did tell me, if you guys need someone to come here from zoning, I'm thrilled. I think they'll be thrilled to send somebody just to clarify it, to keep, things clear. So you're welcome to let me know. And if not, you can call zoning and request someone. So, I'm here to help you guys, okay? And all the citizens, I thank you guys and I'll be watching.